I think one of the most important things about Spirent, what differentiates us from many other test equipment manufacturers, is our very broad range of test equipment solutions. Unlike most companies, we cover everything across the entire telecommunications space, including mobility, application testing, basic network testing, as well as GPS testing or positioning. So we're fairly unique in this space, especially when it comes to testing LTE networks, because basically we can test everything from the RF interface all the way through the core, the evolved packet core, the IMS core, all the way through to the application. So in many respects, we can complete a complete holistic test of the entire network. But very importantly, we can also delve down into very specific areas. So if you have, for example, a serving gateway or a packet gateway within the evolved packet core that needs testing, we can stress it to an incredible extent. For example, it's possible, we've just recently completed testing in Europe and the United States where we were able to generate nearly 0.5 terabit of data. And simultaneously, not only test the bearers, but also control the control plane as well. So I think we're fairly unique. One of the exciting things about the Indian market is you've got very large companies such as Airtel and Reliance. And of course Airtel have now become quite famous because they've just launched the first LTE network in Calcutta. So you really are out there on the leading edge. There are many countries in Europe, for example, which still do not have LTE networks. For example, the UK, Spain, France are not really ready yet. So in many respects, India is out there on the leading edge as far as the deployment of these technologies. The other advantage I think you have in India is you have a lot of homegrown technology as well through organizations such as the Center of Development for Telecommunications or Telematics. So I think that India is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future. You're also, for example, deploying a slight variant on LTE, time division duplex, TDD. And it's interesting because it was only a relatively short time ago, a lot of people were wondering, are you guys going out on a limb, implementing TDD? There was a lot of support from China, of course, and China Telecom. But I think you've been proved right, because now all the chip manufacturers are rallying, and we'll find in the future, and currently I think that there are going to be many chips deployed with frequency division duplex and time division duplex in the same chipset. So far from going out on a limb, I think it was a fairly bold move, and I think it's going to pay off. Yes, I think a good way of summarizing it is we don't make the networks, we just help make them better. For example, we try to make sure that the quality of experience that the customer desires is going to be met. Service level agreements are implemented and maintained correctly. So we're trying to improve the overall experience of the user of these networks. For example, we wouldn't expect a network to be switched on and the user's just allowed to use it automatically. I think it would be much better if you used our equipment to basically turn up the network, stress it with a simulated load. We can emulate, literally, when I say millions, I'm not exaggerating, we can emulate many millions of clients hitting the network simultaneously, stressing the applications and making sure that there is going to be a quality of experience that people would expect from a high quality, high performing network. So I think that's what we're about, making the networks better, helping the networks deliver on the quality of experience that the provider would wish for. It might be partly due to that quality of experience. I think there's going to be much more demand for the high performance requirements of an LTE network than the 3G network. As cloud computing becomes more prevalent and everybody expects ubiquitous access into the cloud, but not just ubiquitous access, but high performance access into the cloud, LTE will, I think, deliver on that promise. 3G was all right, but even in the US, to be honest, the performance on the 3G networks wasn't exactly exciting. But from what I've seen of the LTE performance, it puts the whole system in a completely different category of experience. I think more and more in the future we're going to rely on the cloud. We're going to rely on storing our data in the cloud. We'll want to retrieve it as quickly as possible. A lot of the applications are going to be processed in the cloud rather than having high performance processors on our cell phones which require a lot of power and a drain on the battery. We can offload a lot of that performance up into the cloud. But again, for all of this to work, you've got to have a high performance infrastructure. And I think that's really what's going to make a big difference. The LTE network is a whole quantum leap in terms of performance. We have a number of competitors, worthy competitors, but I think again what distinguishes us with our real advantage is the breadth of testing solutions that we have. To be honest, in my opinion, and I think it's a fact, none of our competitors can cover everything from the RF space all the way through to the application and the GPS. They can test, definitely they can do a good job at testing certain key elements within the network, but I think it's our complete holistic approach which differentiates us from our competitors. And to be honest, there are many competitors around the world. Some are country specific, some are global, but the amount of competition typically varies from country to country. Understand, the type of market we're in is a very specialized market. There aren't thousands and thousands of customers around the world. For example, with Spirent, I believe we'd have about 1,500 customers. When I tell people who do we sell to, our key group of customers are going to be the NEMs. They're the ones who drive our business. They're the people who are developing the new technologies. We work together with them very early on in the development cycle to help them develop those new products. They typically require test equipment to help verify the performance. And there is a finite group of these NEMs, all the usual suspects, the Junipers, the Ciscos, the Alcatel-Lucents, the Ericssons, but a relatively small number nonetheless. After that, the next important wave of customers are going to be the carriers, the large carriers around the world. After that, we will sell to enterprise, but as I often like to joke, we sell to the Fortune 500 types of companies, not the unfortunate 500,000. The reason for this, it's very practical. To make use of Spirent equipment, you need to be a very large organization. You need to be somewhat of a carrier in your own right. So large banking organizations, for example, could use our equipment because they're going to have typically a countrywide or global network. But if you're a small, mid-sized company and you're not running your own network, to be honest, there's going to be not so many applications for our equipment. So you need to be a fairly... First time I'm participating in the LT Summit, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of the experiences of the high performance testing that we've been doing on other vendors' products. Some of the information we can share because it's not under non-disclosure. So for ourselves, for Spirent, and also for our customers, I think it'll be a benefit to basically showcase some of the very high performance testing that we've done with these new products.